But I'm curious. So we have, I think, a real prospect for a woman becoming president. And my question is, how do you think about that in terms of whether it will help or aggravate what we've been talking about?
Mm.
We were all pretty excited about Obama in 2008, but I don't think any of us fully anticipated all the consequences of that, because I think there were certainly groups of people, insecure, cynical, humiliated, whatever adjective you want to use, who reacted to that by becoming more aggrieved. So I'm just curious what you think about
Backlash?
about this. I mean, I am hopeful. I'm always hopeful. I'm hopeful that if you do it enough times, something will get through. But I'm curious about your thoughts, Ross.
I think that the way the world has been is crumbling. And I think what we're really in a fight for is like, what are we going to create once it's finally all fallen apart? And I don't think we're that far away from it all sort of tumbling down. I think if if Vice President Harris gets elected, there will absolutely be a backlash to it. I think I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point. I think like we've seen this story play out enough times. I also the thing I remember moving to DC in 2009 after President Obama was elected was like I don't think I've ever been in a place that was more hopeful and generative in that moment than and that was a really special time. I don't think they'll be the same because like she isn't the same as Obama and the campaign she's running isn't the same and the energy is similar, but it is not the same kind of sort of energy. I think like people were like, "Oh, we're going to be in a post-racial
Right,
America."
right,
It turns out that like a lot of people had a lot of things to say about that. And I also think that like if you look at polling right now, she's actually doing better among like white working class voters than Biden was. And I think there's a reason for that. I think there's a large group. I think there's like a silent majority of like especially white men who are not MAGA. And I use MAGA as sort of like a right wing shorthand in this particular instance, but like they haven't been given an alternative and the left has not done anything to try to earn their votes. Like the only people talking to
right.
them are the right.
That's right.
And so I do think we're in a moment right now where people feel hopeful that there might be space for them. And at our core, like human beings want the same things, even if our lived experience has those things manifest in different ways. Like everybody wants belonging. Everybody like wants to feel purpose. Everybody wants to feel a sense of obligation to something bigger than themselves. And the right gives that to people, but they do it in ways that are really deeply harmful. And I think we have a moment, and whether we take advantage of it, I think is an open-ended question right now. But like, I think we're in a moment where we can expand where we can expand the tent. And again, it isn't totally, it's political, but it isn't totally political. Like there just needs to be space for people that aren't these other spaces. And like we need to invite people in and make them feel welcome and listen to them and respect them. And that type of organizing work isn't for everybody. Actually, like it really truly is not for everybody. Um, And the thing that I think is really important is that like if you're going to do organizing work, you have to deeply respect and I also think love the communities that you're
Right.
organized.
That's right.
Um, and so, I think there's an opportunity right now for men to get out there and organize other men in ways that feel authentic. Sorry, there goes the puppy in the background.
That's okay.
We went almost the entire thing without her making noises, but Nacho, our other dog, I think went upstairs. And she's upset that Nacho left. So anyways, all that is to say, I think like I think we have an opportunity in a moment where there's just a lot of energy. Vice President Harris represents the future. I think like Joe Biden very bravely like did what he said he was going to do, which is be a bridge to the future. Um, and I think that's why you've seen a lot of excitement on the left, but also like not even fully on the left. Like I would also say in the middle, like a lot of people have just been fired up, even if they don't love Vice President Harris, like they're like even if she isn't their favorite candidate, I think there is an excitement because we have an opportunity to move forward rather than going back. And I think the election felt like going backwards until very recently.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think like I think that's why if I were gonna bet, I'd bet on her at this point because I think like when you present a clear contrast and it's like a future versus past like frame, people almost always end up choosing the future. Because people want to be hopeful. Like just because we haven't been in a long time doesn't mean we don't want to be.
That's right. In
That's
fact, people
right.
get exhaustion from cynicism and
That's
despair.
one of my favorite questions or comments. There's only one question that ever matters is, are you still hopeful?